Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name is Matt Drake. This is episode 112. Hope you're all having a good evening this evening. Brady, you're feeling a little bit under the weather, is what I've heard.
Yeah, I know. It's like winter, fall is here or something.
So, bit sniffly, hay fevery, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, the pollen and whatever, Easter weekend, the Easter bunny did not bring me eggs, but brought me whatever this is.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll try and get through as best we can with as little sniffles as possible. So we've got a great show for you tonight. We're first of all going to go through some hot scores from around the country. And then we're going to be taking a deep dive into our debate for tonight, our Sweet Chain discourse, which is, should there be a dress code in New Zealand disc golf? Now, I've given Brady the opportunity to choose which side he wants to argue here. And you'll recall, with our discourse, it's about us providing a 2 points of views, irrespective of what our own personal view is, to see if we can explore what is the what might be the right way to go about thinking about a problem or a question. So Brady's going to choose. He hasn't told me yet what side of the argument he's going to take. I've got a feeling I know, but we'll see whether he surprises me or not. With what he thinks. But look, what do you think is what we want to know. So pop in the comments below. What do you think? Should there be a dress code in New Zealand disc golf? We'll get on to that shortly. After that, we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming tournaments that we've had a couple of weeks off, really, haven't we? And so we've, or at least last weekend was off, and I think this weekend is as well. Before it all then kicks back off again with the Brook Park Brave, and we'll be looking through the power rankings as well. We'll be doing tips for the Brook Park Brave next week. Right, okay, Brady, let's start off with hot scores. Take us through the South.
Hot scores starting as ever in Queen's Park. Invercargill. Michael Todd is top the leaderboard with a -9 this week. As we head over to Dunedin, Chingford Park, Mark Tebbett shoots a -5 to top the leaderboard. And at Brockville, Jack Maffey shoots a -5 to take out the hot round this week. Over to the Wakatipu Basin, Queenstown Gardens, Mikey Yu shoots 15 under par, smoking hot lakeside for Mikey. And always summer at Tucker's Beach, Jack Halliday shoots a -4 for the hot round. Up and over the Crown Range, Ely Point, Ollie Webb gets it done with a 5 under par. And at Lismore Park, it's Pete McKay with a 7 under to round out the hot week. Let's go to the Garden City, Jelly Park, Ashton Clark, 14 under par. And at Ascot Park, Gray Aleka shoots a 3 under to take the hot round this week. At Queen's Park Reserve, Aston Clark again shoots a -5, second hot round in the city. And Jeremy Brockenshire gets it done at Brooker Ave with a -6. Looks like it was a little quiet in Blenheim this week with Matthew Franks taking the hot round with a +8 to round out the South Island. What's going on the North, Matt?
In the north, starting at Berrenpore in the hills, we've got Brady Cush with a hot round with 6 under par. Across the water at Khoikhoi, Mark Bauman hits 4 under par for the hot round of the week. Up at Harcourt Park, which will play host to at least part of the Middle Earth Open, Johnny Wake hits 3 under par. And up at Linklater in the mighty Manawatu, Ephraim Russell hits 9 under par. Across to Maryland's Brian Rawlins, 3 down is enough for the hot round this week, as is Callum Petman's 1 down at Spa Park Red. Paris Holstead goes neg 6 at McLaren with an incredible round, and Sam Hitchcock's 10 under is enough to do it at Henderson. So very well done to everybody with a hot score there. Did you get out much, Brady? I know I saw you on Sunday for the Berrenpore 202.
Yep.
I think it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, the second iteration of the Berrenpore 200.
It was
all on short tees this year, so lots of birdies to be had. It was super calm on Sunday.
It was very calm. I was very chuffed to actually come in tied with yourself this gone Sunday, which probably says more about your play than it did mine. But it was I was incredibly pleased with that score. So yeah.
Well, we were discussing it in the idea that some of this top boys is like, like we were shooting. I shot neg 8 again for the second week in a row. Young Hosh shot 10 down for the second week in a row. And so that idea of like, we're still shooting like what our averages are and shooting pretty well. But with the calm conditions, no wind, easy to putt with, all of the, the cream rises to the top. And so with those kind of conditions, anyone can score, and anybody was. Like I shared a card with MA1, Josh Groot, one of the up-and-comers here in Wellington, who also shot neg 8 with me. I had to push him down to the last hole in order to keep that number 1 tag.
Indeed, anyone could shoot neg 8. Indeed, anyone did. I did. So yeah, that was very good. However, managed to snag myself a lower Zimini than I had previously. Went from 4 to 2, so I was happy with that result. North Island Masters champ Jung Ha got in the way.
I was going to say, can you tell us more about that for people who don't know? So Wellington and the Masters players have this Z Mini thing. Can you tell us a little bit about it and like what's going on with that?
I can. One moment, because I've got my bag here and I keep it in the bag. So there's a group of about 7 of us. It started off, the OGs were Jung Ha, Simon Fogarty and Brett Carlisle, and then this year 2023 they've invited a few more people along, so there's 7 of us. I think myself, Phil McLeod, Kath Headley and Adele Gibson have also got involved, and we've one of the group, I don't know who, 3D printed these minis up with a picture of someone with a Zimmer frame and a tag number, and on the first weekend of the month, roughly, not always, but more or less, the first weekend of the month, we all get together and play Social League up at Berrenpore, and it's a tag scramble essentially. These are up for grabs. So yeah, very happy to done what was needed and take away number 2, which I shall hang on to for dear life, and I shall have this until probably first weekend of May's fault line, so I don't know when we'll do it, but might be the second.
You mean Middle Earth?
Middle Earth. I do apologise. Yes. It's that could be. We might. I doubt the tags will be up there, although everyone is playing, but we'll see. Anyway, so yes, very happy with that, and also managed to snag me a lower Wellington bag tag number 4 as well. So happy with that.
Single digit.
Indeed. So just some quick news as well. If you're in Wellington this Sunday, we got something going on. Do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, so Greater Wellington Disc Golf, with the help of Aiden, I wish I remember his last name, contacted the Lower Hutt City Council, and we have approval and permission to install paver tee pads at Hikoikoi. So this morning, this Sunday, starting 9 a.m., we'll be out at Hikoikoi. So if you have a spade, pair of work gloves, a wheelbarrow, come on out and join us. We'll be installing tee pads, 7 tee pads all around Hikoikoi to help with the winter weather that is coming.
Fantastic. I mean, so Hikoikoi, for people who don't know, it's actually a pretty popular course, right? So it ranks in the top 10 most popular courses in New Zealand. So it's no slouch when it comes to traffic. So you've got basically hole 1 and hole 9 have already got kind of makeshift tee pads. It's got a concrete square where there's signs up and stuff for tee pad number 1, and tee pad number 9 is up on like a piece of decking that then leads down to the beach. But all the rest, they do get a little bit. The areas of the tee pads do get a little bit worn up, especially when the weather's a little bit off colour. And it's there's a bit of moisture in the air and in the ground. So yeah, fantastic working bee going on Sunday. So if you're in the Wellington area and you want to give us a hand and we're putting some paving slabs down with these 7 tee pads. I think we've got all the stuff. It's just grunt, sweat, blood, and tears that need to be supplied.
Yep. Yeah, so we have the framing, the pavers, the sand, and all of that. That's all being organized the Saturday, the day before. The club is taking care of all of that. So we just need some hands and boots on the ground to help us put them in.
Fantastic. Okay, excellent. Right, let's move on to our Sweet Chain discourse. So now, the question for tonight is, should there be a dress code in New Zealand disc golf? Okay, so I'm not talking about what do the PDGA say that you have to wear, and I'm not talking about what do they do in the Disc Golf Pro Tour, although you're within your rights to compare to the Pro Tour if you so wish. So, Brady, I'm going to ask you the question, should there be a dress code in New Zealand Disc Golf? You're going to take a side, and then I'm going to rebut. So, go for it.
Well, Matt, I think disc golf is a pretty casual sport in the idea of, there's this low entry to play. Most courses are free. Discs are cheap compared to golf clubs and golf fees. So, I think the dress code should reflect that. I think you should be able to wear whatever you want. And so if you want to wear a T-shirt, if you want to wear a singlet, if you want to go topless, male or female or anywhere in between, I think you should be able to wear what you want.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Now, see, for me, I think that disc golf has come quite a way in recent years. And I think that there's enough people playing the sport now that when people are passing by a tournament or an event, it really helps to add to the legitimacy of the sport if you've got people who are dressed appropriately. I wouldn't go as far as the some of the golf clubs where you've got to have a Pringle jumper on and sort of smart trousers and shoes, but I do think that there are some things which we need to be a bit more firmer on in terms of the way that people dress. So yeah.
Well, that's just too stuffy. Like, that's the whole reason why people don't want to go to golf clubs anymore. They can't be themselves. They have to preen and polish and wear the uniform. And, for me, I'm not all about that uniform. I'm more about being yourself. The idea that if someone's walking by a disc golf tournament in a park, the idea that they can look out and see athletes that represent themselves. And so, that anyone of any walk of life can look out and see, oh, hey, look, he's wearing a Bulls jersey. I have a Bulls jersey. I bet you I could do what he does. And kids, the idea that they can look up and wear what they want, and that oh, don't have to have a uniform, and that it's not this elitist, you have to kind of wear collared shirts or quick dry clothing.
It's interesting because it's interesting that you use the word athlete there. And I'm glad you did. Because disc golf players, especially the people who take the sport seriously, are athletes. And I think if you're looking to sell that idea, and I would say that I'm probably in a minority amongst people who know about the sport, but perhaps don't know too much about the sport. But I think that people could. Right. When do you ever see athletes of other sports at the top end, even the higher echelons of New Zealand sport, not wearing a uniform that reflects either the group or the club that they play for, or even the person that they themselves represent, if it's a thing, or something that's dictated by the sport. So I'm picking out martial arts as an example there. That's dictated by the sport rather than any individual. So I mean, what are your thoughts to that? I mean, it would be completely different. It would be a complete buck of the trend. The people wear a uniform in other sports in order to represent themselves, the companies they throw for, or that they represent, and I think that's important. It also gives people a sense of being in a group and in a club and part of something that looks the part. if there's a dress code.
Yeah, but like, what about the individuality? Like, what if you're a colorful individual, or what if you're not a colorful individual?
If you're
That
not a colourful individual. So look, I get the importance of wanting to have your own individual brand, but I don't think that dress codes necessarily limit that. I mean, you can go to you can go to any. Well, let's take a somewhere that people might be more familiar with, yeah, and that would be the office, right? There's a dress code for a lot of offices out there that doesn't stop you from putting your own spin on things. If you want to wear a wacky tie or whatever because you're a colourful individual, then you go for it. I think, yeah.
Okay, well, on the topic of athletes, are basketball players athletes?
Yes.
Like, are Australian rules football players athletes?
Yes.
Well, they both wear singlets, and like, they're athletes at the top of their sport.
Yep.
But disc golfers can't wear singlets to their events. Why is that?
Because I think that the sports of basketball and Aussie rules, that's more about the uniform that they wear. There is more about their ability to play the sport in the thing that they're wearing, right? So the idea that basketball players need a lot of movement in the shoulder, and so wearing a sleeved shirt may prevent some of that. And for Aussie rules, I have to say I don't really know too much about Aussie rules. It might just be an Aussie rules thing. I'm sorry, apologies for any Australians who are watching, but yeah. So and I must just take umbrage with something that Gluefist has said here, where he's put athletes ? That's a stretch. Sorry. I disagree with that fundamentally.
Is that for disc golf, or is that for Aussie rules football players?
No, I think that was in relation to disc golf. Disc golf players are at the very certainly the very top end. Even, and that sounds like a disparaging remark, but it's not. Even at the in New Zealand disc golf at the very top level, and even further down, the top players consider themselves athletes. Of course they do, and actually, I think to call them not athletes when you consider how much practice time though that goes into a lot of those players, and I'll pick out Jay. He doesn't win these tournaments because he's got some natural God-given ability that no one else in New Zealand has. And to say he wins because of that is, I think, incredibly insulting. I mean, the guy practices and trains a lot more than a lot of players, and that's one of the reasons that he's as good as he is, right? What else have we got? Brian Rawlins says, for tournaments, yes, but casual rounds, no. I love representing Taranaki disc golf at tournaments. Yeah, look, so when I said New Zealand disc golf, I think I should have clarified. I'm not saying that you go out for a round with your mates and you have to have the shirt on and stuff. I'm talking about events here. So this is disc golf, and let's say events sanctioned by New Zealand disc golf. Certainly events sanctioned by another organisation that happens to be playing in New Zealand, whether that's Disc Golf Pro Tour, for example, if they were to ever come, or anywhere else. I think it's for those events it's absolutely and should be encouraged at local events that are held. So, for example, the Berhampore Social League, for example, it should be appropriate dress code should be followed. I suppose you're going to be on the same side as Johan is the real captain here, who says we should really be following beach volleyball etiquette. I'm not quite sure that at this time of year that would be a particularly good thing to do. But I'll leave that with you.
Speak for your British self, there, sir.
Well, indeed. Yes, I can't say that beach volleyball etiquette, or I don't know.
But what about, how about like X Games and like skateboarders or rollerbladers or anyone in like X Games or like the Nitro Circus? Are they athletes in your opinion, Matt?
Yes, they are. Yes.
like a skater's not rocking up to the skate park in friggin' trousers, golf shoes, and like a polo, but he's an
No,
athlete.
no, but they're turning up in attire that's appropriate for the sport that they're competing in. They're turning up in attire that is, in most cases, branded with the companies with which they're represented, they're representing or are associated to, or wish to be associated to, or at the very least, they're turning up in attire which says I'm a skateboarder slash X gamer, whatever it might be, whatever sport they're repping at the time.
So yeah, please, to reiterate, this entire conversation is me and Matt picking sides and having a fun argument over it. These are not personal opinions nor reflective of any professional opinions either. But yeah, like you talked about basketball and athletes and that they can have their shoulders free and that kind of stuff. Like I have to wear sleeves in disc golf. Like that's so cumbersome. Like in a throw, like the idea of like pinch points and it gets stuck, it pulls. Like when I'm trying to make a pull, dragging my arm down, like it's just weight. Like clothing is just so cumbersome when trying to play disc golf, especially like a top.
I don't know. I think that's not for the difference between basketball and disc golf in terms of required movement in the shoulder. I think they're two different divisions almost. Kiwi Goldfish says, can we at least agree that Crocs are out? Absolutely we can. Crocs should be banned. I never want to see people wearing Crocs.
It's closed-toed footing. That's fine. I might even be able to give you like the whole like jandal thing, but honestly, we should just be able to play barefoot. Like that's how we were made. Like we weren't born with shoes on; we were born with feet. So why can't we play in our feet?
This is about this. I mean, we're talking about events here where the players are the ones that are representing the sport and are the ones that are giving off an image. And if you're trying to attract, or at least at the very least not dissuade potential sponsors and spectators and people who might otherwise be interested in disc golf, then I'm not sure that kind of sleeveless, barefoot, just stepped off your desert island disc golf is quite the right way to do it. I don't know. My comment on Crocs is just a lifestyle thing, really. I think if we go back to our Room 101 episode, they'll probably follow the Kia into that. But
into the room, into our pet peeves.
Indeed. So yeah,
but I mean, like if what is it? Corona. Why are we going for Corona? Someplace I'd rather be in this relaxed sport where you're out playing, throwing discs barefoot, like on the beach. Why can't we be pushing for them? They're a monstrous corporation that would probably throw money at disc golf if we said like there's no place I'd rather be.
Indeed, but I think it's down to when we have a beach disc golf course, which is something that's kind of missing in a way. I know there are certain holes that are played and that are on the edge of water. But there's very few in the same way that beach ultimate is almost a different sport to regular ultimate in terms of the tactics and the way in which it's played. Beach disc golf isn't really so much of a thing, especially not in New Zealand. You've probably seen it played over in the States, but so like I think that it's a where is it appropriate? If beach disc golf turns out to be a thing, then maybe the attire is Hawaiian shirts, backward caps, all that kind of stuff. So and I would have to dig my Hawaiian shirt out if we're gonna do like that. So yeah, and I think that if you're on a disc golf course representing the sport, let alone any companies that you might also be representing, then you ought to look the part. And society says that smart is a shirt with a collar, or a shirt that looks like you are playing sport and you're taking it seriously. You haven't just sort of come from the pub. I think is important.
But I mean, like, if that guy who comes from the pub in his t-shirt, in his cargo shorts, in his croc, and he beats you,
Yeah, that's
are you going to rule him out just because he doesn't dress appropriately?
No. I'm gonna say that in at the top level, especially, and when I say top level, I'm talking about sanctioned events here. Either on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, New Zealand Disc Golf Pro Tour, or any other kind of Pro Tour-ish similar kind of event. I think that should be that if you're playing at that kind of level, then you ought to be playing in that kind of dress in order to best represent the sport, the organisations that are involved, and everyone else that's there. I think I don't mind for social rounds people turning up and they can wear what they like. I don't care.
Now, are you just trying to say this to discredit Justin Workman and what he did when he manhandled the country in a t-shirt?
No, not at all. I mean, he was a very good player, and I was fortunate enough to play a round at Hardcore Park, and he absolutely destroyed me and the course, and it was a pleasure.
In a t-shirt?
I don't recall. It probably was. Yeah, probably was. But he did very well. What I would say is that I'm not sure that, and I know he did play a couple of Pro Tour events when he went back to the States. Not sure he would have got away with the same dress in those events.
And so, like, are you just trying to like judge a book by its cover? So by saying people who wear t-shirts like aren't athletes, people like who are wearing singlet, like can't play disc golf?
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't think that, because it would be wrong of me to say that. I've played disc golf in a singlet before. It's very liberating, but I wouldn't play disc golf in a singlet at a sanctioned tour event, or somewhere where I was representing the companies that I choose to represent, or the sport that I represent in a I don't want to say professional capacity, because it's I've never cashed, but like you know what I mean, like in an official capacity, I should say.
Yeah, and so that has nothing to do with your skin tone or the fact that you can't tan.
What? Oh, this is now. Hang on, because we're going a bit off topic here, but I can tan, and I do tan. This time of year, it's fading, but still, we're not going to get into that now. Johan, the captain, Johan is the real captain. Says that mandatory visor hats with neon lights.
Ooh, are we playing night rounds? I think, yeah, like UV would work. What about like body paint? Would paint be okay? Like, I can paint on the like weave of the mesh and like the collar.
You can body paint on the collar and and your uniform, can you? Well, look, I'd have to say that it probably wouldn't pass much, to be honest. And if it starts raining, then it might look a bit odd as well. But yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Uniform, play this out for me then. So if you think that New Zealand Disc Golf should have a dress code, what does it look like to you?
What does it look like? Good question. Okay, yeah. So I think that we have to stick by the whole. You can't be offensive to people. That doesn't mean you can't express yourself. You just can't say things which will be glaringly offensive, right? So yeah, that's one thing. I think that I like the collared shirt idea. I think that it looks smart, and I think that that's the right thing to do. I don't think you should necessarily have to wear trousers, although I know a lot of people do, especially when the cold weather comes in. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of playing any sport in trousers ever, so it's unlikely to happen. And then appropriate footwear, which to be honest, as long as it's appropriate, it's very difficult to make footwear offensive. So you'd probably say whatever is safe. And in order to do that, you'd probably say it's got to be closed toes, and yeah, that's what I would go with. Gluefist says 70s paisley shirts with the added benefit of wind reeds from the collars. Yes, that would be that would make quite the sense.
I was gonna say, like, under your so how do we feel about those good old cotton polos of the 90s? Ken Climo is a great example with those big baggy polos, big baggy cargo pants, wearing his running shoes. That's good.
I enjoy wearing baggy shorts, honestly, and yeah, so I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't think.
And so, like, do those shorts have to go past the knee? Like, do they have to be like a certain finger below the waistline or something?
Not at all. As long as if you want to play in rugby shorts, which are perhaps shorter than others, then you can. If you want to play in like 3/4 lengths, then you can as well. I have less of an issue with what's on the bottom than what's on the top.
How about? Be careful where you're going with that one, Matt.
Dress code, please. Come on.
Yeah, dress code. Right. Socks. Required, not required. Do they need to be tall? Do they need to be paisley? Like,
what's this? Sorry, socks.
Socks. Do they factor into this uniform dress code of yours?
They don't need to be. They don't need to be necessarily of any length. If you're one of those hipsters who doesn't like to wear socks, then you can go for that if that's what you want to do. Yeah, just leave your shoes outside is what I'd say when you get to the house that you're staying. So yeah, that would be. Yeah.
What about jackets or hoodies, jumpers? Is there any regulations in your dress code?
I think it's if the weather dictates it appropriate, and that's kind of personal that's kind of personal opinion, really. I mean, if you get cold and you want to play in a jacket, play in a jacket. But I mean, yeah, I don't have an issue.
Does it have to be a smart jacket? Can it be a dumb hoodie? Can it be like a dumb cotton something?
No, I think it should be in line with what the branding of the rest of your kit, if you like. I don't see a problem in wearing appropriate clothing for the weather conditions, as long as it's kind of reasonable. You turn up in a massive kind of snowman suit and it's in the middle of summer, people are going to raise eyebrows. But like, if you,
it's called a wearable sleeping bag, man.
I used to have one. They're fantastic. They are so good.
Can I play in that?
Yeah, look, if it's I'll tell you a story. I played Ultimate once in the snow in Bristol one winter. It was the beginning of March. It was the first tour event of the year, so it was the top division of UK Ultimate, and we played our first game on the Saturday. I'd slept in the car, so I was freezing cold, and woke up in the snow. And I played in. I had shorts, tracky bottoms, and on the bottom, and then on the top I had a t-shirt, a jumper, a coat, and then my kit over the top, and then a hat on. It was that cold, and trying to keep your hands warm in those kind of snow conditions was very difficult indeed. But look, if the weather dictates that you ought to wear that kind of wear those kind of garments, then yeah, wear those kind of garments. Don't have an issue.
Well, the only reason why I mentioned that is, like, yeah, we've had, if you've been watching the Disc Golf Pro Tour at all, there have been a few cold mornings, and Music City Open was a very wet one. And so there has been some comments made regarding cotton hoodies, and the idea of, or like fleece pullovers, that there are slightly more casual outerwear coming in during these inclement weather rounds.
Yeah.
Ooh, actually, here's a really good one. Speaking of uniforms and pro tours, would Sayananda's championship-winning outfit pass your rigorous dress code?
So, well, a couple of things. You've used the word rigorous there, and that's yet to be determined. But would her dress code pass it? Yeah, I think it probably would. I'll see if I can find a picture of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you pull up a photo?
I can see what I can do.
Because the leggings count in your echelon of dress code.
Now, I can't profess to be a huge wearer of leggings or similar.
You are missing out.
I'm sure I am. Let's have a look. Right. Lots of pictures of her, but I can't find a picture of her in the thing. Oh, what was the event she won? She won the
White top, black leggings. Should be a photo of her with like Nate Perkins in the interview final on her Instagram. If any of you guys are watching and can help me and Matt out when it comes to locating Sayananda and her win this year, feel free to leave a comment below.
Yes. So I got there we go. I've got a picture of her here. Right. Let's see if I can get that. Is that going to work for me? Yes, probably.
What, that it meets the dress code, or that it's going to work that you can put it on screen?
Well, one moment, we'll find out.
I got black.
Yeah, I know.
Pardon the technical difficulties.
No, it's it's sort of technical difficulties, but it's also right. So here we go. This is Sayananda's Instagram page, and this is her dress code. So I think that's probably the best photo I'm going to get. Can you see that, Brady? You can see that.
Yeah. It looks like we got white leggings, black cotton t-shirt sleeves cut off.
Yeah, look, I don't have a problem with this because it's a what you've got here is a disc golf related. Let's just get the photos out of the way so you can see us again. What you've got is a disc golf related shirt. She's wearing a Westside Discs shirt with arms cut off, which is fine, and her leggings are reflective of her. So I mean, you were talking about wanting for people to be able to show their individuality. I think that's absolutely fine. What I would draw your attention to is the dress code of the other three ladies in the picture. Which is perhaps your more orthodox kind of dress code, I would say. So that I think is a demonstration of how, and perhaps ladies disc golf in similar to the dress codes that a lot of offices make people wear. The ladies' dress code can be a little bit more. Can perhaps be a bit more individual, let us say, than perhaps a kind of shirt and trousers and tie. But yeah.
I want to go so many bad places with that. The idea of why are we singling out women? Why can't men wear what they want and wear sleeves or sleeveless or wear leggings?
Yeah, look, I think that's a fair point. Although I'm not, I don't know. What I would say, I guess, is that if there's going to be a dress code, it needs to be thought about. An appropriate group of people should be putting it together with input from the community, and then setting it as a structure that they want people to adhere to. I think having a bit of a free for all is perhaps doesn't do the sport as much good as we might like it to. I guess that's what I'm saying. So, yeah. Right.
I mean, to put my personal, with wrapping this up, I personally think there should be a dress code. I like seeing people in, I wouldn't necessarily say appropriate attire. Let's go with professional attire. I don't really like that smart attire or orthodox or whatever. It's like, no, more professional. Like, yeah, we are trying to be, some of us are trying to be professional amateur athletes. And so that idea of, I think it does make for a better polished professional product that
totally.
people want to play for. That idea of, right, if you're having a casual round with friends and you're out in t-shirts and that kind of stuff, cool beans. But yeah, if you're playing in a like internationally sanctioned sport, a local championship, a national championship, then yeah, you should dress the part. You should look like a professional. It's a professional event. You should dress appropriately.
Especially those, you could argue, in professional divisions.
Yeah. Whether you're being filmed or not, like I would argue that I would put it in all divisions. Like I would really kind of like to see a blanket. No, like not. It doesn't necessarily have to be the collar. Like it could just be, little shout out here to Taranaki Disc Golf. Could just be, like Sportwick material. But yeah, like something that's professional and looks the part.
Okay, excellent. Gluefist says perhaps in lieu of prizes, have event shirts with logos and all the same. Yeah, I think that's a nice idea. If you want to promote your event and give someone something that they can wear on the course as well, I think that's a great idea. There he is, thinking away. Right, let's move on to something else. We've got.
So do you want to go Brook Park or power rankings?
We'll start with Brook Park and then we'll go into the power rankings. So the Brook Park Brave takes place a weekend, not this weekend coming, but the weekend after, and that's on.
Did you know that it was a B tier?
Say again.
It's a B tier.
I didn't know it was a B tier. No, I didn't. This weekend is the Generation Disc Golf Series number 4 at the Montana Flats. So that's this weekend. So if you want to get involved in that, I think there's still places available. I think they're up to close to 60.
Correct. Up to 72. I think there were 55 the last I checked. It's the largest event Generation has ever held, I believe, outside of Waihitapu.
Oh, good work. Well, good work to them. Let's see if we can just grab some of the upcoming.
For anyone who's interested in Brook Park Brave, by the way, it looks like there are at least 11 spots left. There are only 61 as of this very moment. So if you would like to attend that, it is a B tier, so there should be a good amount of money on the line. Only 10 players in the open division.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mixed open division, I should say.
So if you want to be involved in in Brook Park Brave and you want to win yourself some cash, then that sounds like it might be the thing the event to play. Excellent.
So Matt, you're going to be headed up?
No, I'm not going to be heading up, unfortunately. No, it's just away tournaments for me are very difficult at the moment. Hopefully that won't be the case for too much longer. But yeah, right now away tournaments are very tricky. So Brook Park Brave is coming up 22nd to 24th of April. So that's the Saturday to Monday. Remember, Anzac Day is on the Tuesday, which is a public holiday. And then the finale of the Generation Series is on the 29th of April. Next week, we'll have our tips on the Brook Park Brave. If you think that you're a better tipster than me or Brady, or indeed the Sweet Chain analytics team, then you can show off how good you are in the Sweet Chain tipping, which has started a new season. So after the major season, which completed a couple of weeks ago, we have started a new season. This season takes us from now all the way up until the end of September. And you'll be able to place bets on all of the events that are between now and then, all the ones that you can see on your screen now, plus any more that get added. And the Sweet Chain analytics team will put together odds, and you'll find it all on our Discord. So if you head over to the Discord, which is linked in the description of this video, head over there and start collecting your daily loot boxes so that you've got some coin to bet with when the events come along. The first event will be the Brook Park Brave that we will have odds on, but after that it will be every event. So you've got a few days to get involved. There haven't been any events yet, and everybody's coin got reset. So the only advantage you have by signing up early is your daily loot boxes to give you that little bit of a bonus and help you along the way. So look forward to seeing as many people as can. In that, shout out to Sexy Beast, who won the first season of the Sweet Chain tipping. Very well done to you. Your knowledge coming in down the stretch, particularly at Nationals and North Island Champs, was what did enough to send you over the line. So very well done to you.
That's none other than Bray Marsden, is it not?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. So very well done. Looking across at the power rankings, this is no change. So the rankings that the changes that you see here are as a result of the Bottle Lake Open that was on a couple of weeks back. And so Jay Watkinson is in the first position, although it's incredibly tight between him, Levi, and Jacko. Sebastian Faulkner moved up 6 places thanks to his second place finish up to 10th, and Ashton Clark also performed well, finishing tied third. I think moves up 3 spaces to 17. Yeah, so look, we've got an interesting couple of tournaments coming up. We've got the Brook Park Brave, where you mentioned that the MPO field is quite light, and then we also have the Middle Earth Open, where the MPO field is also not the largest division, being smaller as it is than MA1 and MA40, I believe. Do we know what divisions? What courses each division's going to be playing on in for the Middle Earth Open? Has that been decided yet?
No, not quite. That is on my list for this weekend. As I look and finalize and do my, I'm hoping to have most of that done this weekend for tee times and divisions and courses.
Fantastic.
MA1, MPO, and FPO will definitely be playing Harcourt Park twice.
Mm-hmm.
But I have yet to determine the other 2 courses. For the divisions.
Excellent. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that, especially if you're coming up to Wellington. It looks sold out. It is sold out. Is that right?
Correct. It sold out in 15 hours.
Oh wow. Okay. So yeah, that was that's pretty good. A lot of Wellingtonians, a lot of Palmy boys coming down, and ladies coming down.
Yeah. Hawke's Bay, Taranaki. There's a good contingent as well.
Yeah, it's the same weekend as the Lords and Ladies of Lismore. So there's almost like a South Island event and a North Island event. Two very long-standing events being run at the same weekend. So make sure that you're involved. We'll have a preview of the Middle Earth Open week after next. Is that the right week? Have I got that right? No.
Yeah. So yeah, Brook Park next week, and then Middle Earth and Lords of Lady the weekend after.
No, not quite. It's Brook Park.
Well, week after.
Our Brook Park preview will be next week, and then then we'll go over the results. Then we've got a week gap, and it will be on the 4th of May. So in 3 weeks' time, we shall do our preview.
Star Wars Day.
Indeed. We shall be doing our preview of Middle Earth Open and Brook Park Brave. Sunday tee times, Brady, or shotgun? I think it's shotgun. Am I right?
Shotgun for every round.
Excellent. And so yeah, join us for that. And also remember to head over to the Discord and get yourself involved in the tipping competition. It's going to be very fun. In between now and the Middle of Open, we'll also be having our quiz, so look out for that. We're just working out exactly how we can get everybody involved and playing along at the same time. So we'll look forward to that. But wherever you're playing disc golf, take it easy, play well, get some birdies, and we'll see you next week.